Welcome to this ASMR video where we will be focusing on perception, perception, perception. Perception is our own mind's or head's ability to comprehend all the senses, the inputs from our senses that we process in the mind. And for this purpose, to work on this, kind of bring your attention into your own perception, we will be working with kind of a blue intelligence form of energy. So whenever I think about intelligence, I just get the color blue, and I have sort of tried to gotten some tools for this purpose so that we, especially you, can sort of tune into a deeper contemplation where this form of awareness of your own perception can kind of arise into your surface of understanding and kind of maybe also move these limitations of your perception to the aside, or maybe diminish them down a bit so that your perception becomes like a pure crystal ball that just can process all these sense inputs for you in such a way that it will be accurate to the level of understanding all this information that you get from your senses, and with this that you will be able to discern information and connect and tune in your perception with your intuition, like your third eye, your intuition, your sense of knowing, so that you will be safe, that you can utilize your perception and your third eye intuition, kind of tune these two in to the same tool to work together so that you can be informed by yourself to know about what is really going on and when is it time for you to take head and maybe escape, or maybe escape from danger or anything else from a situation, maybe at work, where you have different things going on that doesn't feel like they are really right, and that you can discern this information, that what is not the right kind of things going on, so that you are able to take the actions needed to actually maybe get out of that job if it's not safe for you, because some jobs, I swear, you can face a lot in a job place, and this is what we will be doing, focusing in on the perception. And as with anything in our kind of being, we working with energy. So I have some tools for this, and as well the blue energy. And I just want to set your kind of mind waves, like the thought pattern that you have currently. I just want to set it into a very relaxed state, very relaxed and just like very like slow type of waves moving in your mind, you know, so that any thoughts you have, they will not be like rushed, but they will instead be very like moving like very smooth and small waves, easy to pick up anything from, you know, and pick up and notice the important things that you're getting through your senses and that are in the sea of all things you have in your mind. Just put you in this kind of relaxed mindset. Just brushing through very gently, and on the back, the neck, moving. So this is green tea incense, and to be fairly honest, it is finished. But they have a selection of different incense, and any of these incense are based on essential oils, and I do have one that I will be using in this session to kind of tune into these deeper fragments of our mind, you know. But I will read to you some of these so that you can kind of, you know, have a time to slow down your thought patterns and your mind waves. Just like let the information of these different elements and parts from the nature just kind of move through the mind waves. Sandalwood, pine, musk, patchouli, jasmine, rose, cedarwood, amber, vanilla, green tea, lavender, cinnamon, lotus, mimosa, yosu, gardenia, iris, and fig. Just having this slower kind of mind waves. having this kind of slower mind waves that are leading into your perception center of your mind. And this is I don't remember the word of the stone. I had it in my mind, but this is a blue stone that kind of represent, you know, this intelligence and kind of how the intellect would maybe be represented, and that you are kind of relying on to some extent when you are using and processing things in your perception, that it kind of has access to this intelligence and even to the deeper intelligence that is based like the universe, you know, but we are not always tapping into that deepest kind of intelligence when we're using our perception. Typically we are relying on schedules about past experiences and labeling in order to comprehend and make some kind of meaning out of all these sense inputs that we bring into our perception, you know. So I want to kind of have, as your mind waves moving slower, I want you to kind of try, and this is especially good if you have been working with your third eye, but even if you haven't, it's still fine, to kind of try and tap into that, like ask yourself to tap into that deeper underlying intelligence, the intelligence that is in everything, even like in a flower, even in a stone, even in a tree or in a bird. Like how are the feathers constructed in such a way they can fly? All this intelligence that we have in our surrounding, and so that you also have in you, that you can sort of make use out of in terms to perceive the world around you in such a way that you getting the most accurate understanding of it. And you can sort of focus in on this blue stone. The color of it sort of has the, as you viewing it, it sort of sets with its own energy kind of the right mind waves that you will be able to sort of tap into this deeper intelligence, you know, and make use of that when you are comprehending things around you. So not only relying on these parts of the intellect, the intelligence that we also may be defining, all these labels that we have, labeling schedules like this is a chair, this is a TV, this is a woman, this is a plant, but like these deeper understandings of things that you can sort of tap into. I will leave this stone in the back of your neck as we progress through in this session. Place this one at your back, like here in the neck, where you kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen this, they say like Kundalini, you know, in Kundalini yoga they have like they have like this serpent moving from the down from the spine, moving up, and sort of bring you enlightenment. And I want to place this blue color stone here in the neck, where you kind of have, it's almost like a key lock that you can sort of unlock. Tap down into that deeper knowledge that you should utilize also when you have your perception working on all these sense inputs. You can tap into that intelligence when you're trying to comprehend your sense. And I'm sorry because I have a bit of a cold, unfortunately, because it's cold here. So letting you know about it, because it's cold here. So as I let the blue stone work in your neck, we're gonna progress to some incense. I wish you can smell, because this is lavender. So again, in favor of like a slower pattern of the mind waves that you are carrying inside your head, in where all things you are thinking kind of floating in, or swimming in. You don't want to have a rough sea, because then your thought patterns are gonna be like panic. You want to keep your sea of thought, like where your thoughts are, at like a slow pace of waves, and in that sea, from this deeper inner intelligence that can arise and be in the sea, as we have been working with that as well. Make use of that deeper intelligence, when you are comprehending the sense inputs that you get, so that you are not only labeling everything, because that's the most easy way of understanding the world, to label everything as a share, as a woman, as a something. And I know that it's a lot of people, they will not really appreciate seeing fire at this point in time, if you're watching this at this point. So I will not show you the fire in this video. I will just take the smoke part of this, because in terms of energetic work, the things we don't see, we do tend to work with different elements. So we work with water element, do work with fire and smoke, but we have to choose carefully what we are doing, so that we are not causing ourselves to remember traumatic scenes that we've been maybe seeing recently now, but that we are using these elements, the ether space, like where we're getting the smoke to kind of move around in. We just want to like focusing in on opening your key lock to this deeper containment of intelligence that you have, that you can have arise into your mind and have it like in the sea of all these other things that you keep in your mind, and make use of that when you try to comprehend reality or the world around you, you know, with all, since you're getting all these sense inputs. So instead of like labeling something, like you see something and in your perception you label it as a, let's say, like a flower, instead of doing that, you kind of make use of this inner sea of intelligence, and you consulting into that, you know, in order to understand it, what it is. So maybe instead of viewing it as a flower, you will see it as part of sun rays, or you will see it as part of a life force, or you will see it as part of maybe being a flower, but also food for some bees, you know, that you will kind of add together more elements of information, kind of get more understanding of what it is you are contemplating on. And it's difficult, the mind, it's a very complex thing. Even science doesn't have all the answers to how it is functioning, but we don't need all the scientific answers to everything, because it will take us forever to find out unless we will make use of AI. So we just have to trust in the fact that we as humans, we will, at least in the sense inputs that we take in, can comprehend what we are experiencing, and that with that we can take the right decisions that will contribute to, you know, to the health, to the safety, to the peace for us, and, you know, for the world, stuff like this. Just opening this lock. You can just picture it like you are unlocking a very like tricky little lock, and from that, when you have unlocked with the smoke, you just have this very light flow of intelligence that we are unable to see, just filling the sea where the mind kind of is, and just having that intelligence flowing and kind of making use of it, that your perception kind of, you know, picking whatever is relevant from that intelligence when it's trying to process these sense inputs, and especially to try and understand what is real and what is not. When I say real, I don't mean necessarily that everything has to be like correct, and that we need to be able to verify everything, but more like real in the sense that it's like a linking together into other things, you know? So just trying to steer these waves of your mind pattern. You can picture like you are on a beach, like your perception is on the beach, and in the horizon you can see like the sunshine, and then you have these waves coming in over you, bringing you seashells and like any, maybe some crabs and different things, bringing you sand, and salt, and that you, based on this, is able to kind of understand things. I know I'm speaking very metaphorically, but there is no way I can speak of the mind in such a way that it's going to be the perfect explanation for it, because this is a complex thing. But it's better to speak metaphorically, and so you actually are able to, have some images, not from the outside senses, but inside your own mind, coming to you about what it is. Because we are not able to see our own mind. So the only way, we can, as I said, we can pick up sense inputs from around us, but our own mind that is processing these outside senses, we are not able to see our own mind. So the only way we can sort of understand our own mind, we can only do that through kind of metaphorical pictures in the formats that we know about something outside that we have kind of had visual inputs from. And I think it's important to, when you think about perception, to have like this full spectrum open. Because sometimes people, they will, after living for a while, they will be, narrowing down their spectrum. And this is kind of sad, They will narrowing down their spectrum to whatever they see or hearing. It will only be understood through a very narrow spectrum of things, such as they might will see everything as it's part of some form of sadness, or some kind of harm, or some kind of danger. Because if you one time had some kind of danger happening to you, you might experiencing everything after that as a danger, even if it's not. And that is because it's not because everything around you is dangerous, it's because your own perception has kind of closed down to a narrow spectrum, where you kind of, this perception kind of just seeing everything from a very small angle and kind of process it as a form of danger. That's why we want to open your perception so that you have the full spectrum, so that anything you sense inputs give you, you could potentially see and understand it as being anything, because you have not limited yourself into only have this small spectrum. And that's why I have brought forward these stones. And again, to remember all names of stones is difficult. So I don't remember the name of these, but I'm sure some of you will know. But why I think these are relevant is because not only are they having the tone of blue, which is kind of a color of intelligence from my perspective, and they also have all these other kind of color tones that could be understood as full spectrum. And what we want is a full spectrum for where your perception will analyze your sense inputs throughout this full spectrum to find what it is you are seeing and verify it in such a way that you understand things around you in a correct way. Correct way, it's gonna be your way of understanding it. But so these stones I will work with. You still have the blue stone and kind of cool ice tone stone at your neck, where it's like the serpentine can arise, kind of unlocking that locker into your full access to intelligence, the intelligence that is in the universe, the intelligence that knows how the feathers can make the bird fly, and how many feathers a birds need to have in order to fly, and exactly how every little feather must be made in order to be able to fly. All that kind of information about everything, to tap into that. So you still have that going on. And now I just want your perception, like the spectrum that your perception have, kind of make your perception have an open and wide spectrum to process through. That's why we have these. I know these are complex terms, and I must use some metaphorical wording for this, because we are unable to see our mind. We only know we got one, but we are unable to see it. So that's why it can be a bit difficult to understand, even for myself, because I'm not either able to see my mind. So it's working. We can picture like a line, like this, if you think of your perception spectrum like a line for how you will process every sense input. We will kind of work on a line to activate and open up entire spectrum for you. And if there is any closing the spectrum, we will just, through this energy of these full spectrum stones, open that spectrum up to the fullest possible. And this also links into why you want to have a full spectrum in how your perception kind of can look like. Let's say you're getting this sense input, and your perception, we can view it like your eyes, that you have this spectrum here. So you have this sense input from outside you, and then you can sort of look through all this spectrum to find all information you will need in order to categorize and label and understand that sense input and link it together to something else, and maybe store it as a memory in your head or something. And this, as I was talking in another video here about perception deception, which is, you can watch that video if you want information on it. But let's say you have a very small spectrum for where your kind of perception to pick up information, or like analyzing it from all these sense inputs. That could be a cause to deception of your perception. And I will also, because I don't know exactly where in your mind where exactly these processes are, and I think not even the scientist knows exactly everything, exactly where we're storing certain memories, or where we are processing certain things or abilities that we have as a human. So I will also go over from the back of your head, kind of doing the same opening up of the spectrum, so that we ensure that we have done the full ritual kind of actually doing this to facilitate your ability of your perception. And just cutting through as well a bit your mind, the sea, you know. If you think about your mind as just a big sea, and we have worked on the spectrum for where your perception kind of viewing all these sense inputs from. Now we want to kind of just cut through with these energies through the sea and have it kind of distributed across everything, so that you for sure will have this ability of viewing everything in a new way and not be afraid of it, you know. Because typically we are not afraid of our own mind. Maybe some of us are, but not everybody are afraid of our mind. So for that purpose, we can have this spectrum of ability to kind of being ready and allowing to kind of comprehend everything that we take in as a sense input as something new. So for example, if you have a routine in your life, you know, you wake up, maybe you go to work, maybe you go to school, maybe you stay at home, whatever you do, you know. But from your own routine, that tomorrow when you wake up, you will be viewing everything that your senses pick up as something new, you know, that you will have like another kind of understanding to your everyday. And see, maybe even this means describing more meaning into the things around you. Maybe it means to label less. Maybe, and labeling, I mean like instead of just label as soon as you see something, maybe you will have a little bit more thought about it and adding more, you know, like 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D type of information to whatever it is you are seeing. And I know there are sometimes people in the spiritual community who speak about other realities where you kind of have 60, 70, I don't know, that you kind of have some concept of everything around you based on perceiving it differently and having more ways of comprehend it, so that you're not only seeing a 3D or 2D image of something. Like adding a little bit of frequency into your sea of your mind, you know, with all these full spectrums of colors and ideas and possibilities, so that you will comprehend things like sense inputs different ways than you have before, that you will get more meaning from the things you have around you, or that you will, you know, be able to have new thoughts that you haven't had, or maybe have a more, you know, happy or optimistic way of actually perceiving things around you, or a more, I don't know, whatever that might be. Like, I cannot give you an exact answer to what this will give for you, and maybe you are not really into the spirituality of this, so you might take this as a form of relaxation or a role play, and that's totally fine, you know. I will not force anybody into spirituality or to believing in energetics, because everything you believe in, it must come from yourself. So if this is solely a role play for you, that is your right to have it like that. It's your choice, you know. That's what I'm saying. But for anybody who actually have an understanding that energies are real and we are having reality that is more than the 4D, that we are, we can have reality experience on a 7D and so on, 7-dimensional level and so forth, then this could be something that's gonna bring forth something for you. But I cannot know what that's gonna be. I just giving you this ritual that can help open and mitigate and do for you. But whatever this is gonna bring forth, it's gonna be your experience. But still we are in this in this space together and so forth. So I just want to say that you should be safe in this. This is a safe space. I do not open you up into any, let's say, demonic things. This is only from a good light, like helpful approach. So don't worry about that, because I know that some people out in this community in YouTube might have some form of other intentions when they working with energetics, energies, But I will not judge anybody who's doing anything, but I'm just telling you that I'm not doing that. Kind of just smoothing out also now, because I think we kind of intervened a bit in your energetic field with all these things, especially in your mind. So I just want to close up any, your like outer layers that surrounds your head and mind, so that you have, protection around you, and that your energy is not outside of you. So kind of tapping a little bit, smoothing, making sure that it's all even out what we just been working with, because this is also part of your own secret space, your mind. And I'm gonna remove the blue stone from behind your neck now, because we was opening the key lock to your deeper inner intelligence. And I will tap and smooth a bit at your neck, so that we don't leave out anything for attaching into anything else, not attaching into any other energies, or not allowing any other energies to attach. We're just smoothing out, tapping all the energies that you have to yourself. They will work in favor for you. And above you as well. Just tapping, 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 tapping. So thank you so much for being in this session, and let the effects of this kind of take its time to kind of comfort for you, because I think, any spiritual work, or like if you just see this as a role play, but if you believe in energies and stuff, this might, the effects from this can come after like 1 week. Like energies are not like necessarily on a timeline that we understand, so that's like, just let it be and let it work for you.